Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Alicia and today we're talking about my author challenge. The author challenge is, if you haven't heard already, is I basically draw a name of an author out of one of my little jars and I try to read all of the books from that author. It may take me a month, it may take me 2 months, but every time I finish an author, I pick a new one. So I have completed the first author. Let's see who it is, and I will tell you a little bit about each of the books that I read and what I thought about them. Let's go. Alright, so this author challenge I created purely so that I could try to read some of the books on my shelves and just get them off of the to read shelf and put them on the read shelf, right? I read them, I put them on the shelves that I have read those books, and it makes it less on the to be read shelves. So the first author that was picked from the jar was Colleen Hoover, and I had about 8 books, I believe, 8 or 9. I found 8. I'm pretty sure that was it, but these are the books that I had of Colleen Hoover, and this is the order that I read them in. So the first one I read was Verity. And when I went into this one, mind you, I have no idea what any of her books are about. I kind of went in blind. I did read the synopsis, but I feel like that didn't give me enough information in terms of what to expect with her books. This one, all I knew was that when I finished reading it, I needed to be able to say, was I team manuscript or team letter? Yeah, we'll get to that. So, if you know, this one is supposed to be like a thriller romance type, is what I'm calling it. But it's basically about a author, and they hire, I believe her name was Lowen. They hire her to be the ghostwriter for a author, famous author, so that they could finish out a book series for her. But things happen. The wife is supposed to be comatose, and the Lowen starts having relations with the husband, but she feels like she's seeing things, and she thinks that she sees the wife up walking around when she shouldn't be, or maybe she's faking it, who knows. So I read this one, I finished this one, I'm still processing, and I read this like 3 months ago. I have no idea if I should pick team manuscript or team letter. I feel like the letter was just thrown in there at the end. I think if we had not had the letter, it would have been fine, but then they throw in the letter, and I don't know what to think now. So I'm still processing. It might take me a little bit to figure that out. So far, if I had to give you an answer right now, I would say team manuscript, but on the off chance, like, if the letter is true for the sense of this book, and she did write the manuscript as a writing exercise, I don't know what to think. Like, I don't know, okay? I don't know. This was a very hard-hitting topic, because as a writer myself, this could be like a legitimate, like, we did a writing exercise and that was the outcome. But if that at the same time was going on with everything else, then I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The next one I read from my collection of Colleen Hoover's was Ugly Love. This one is very hard-hitting because I am a parent. I have 2 children, and I could not imagine what goes on in this book. I could not imagine it happening. Like, I feel like I would be on Miles's side, because Tate and Miles are trying to have a relationship, but Miles has a secret, and then that secret comes out, and what happens to Miles, like, I would be in the same predicament as Miles. I probably, like, I can guarantee you, because this was very hard-hitting and very hard to read as a parent. So if you have children, be cautious of going into this one. If you've read this one, let's talk about it. The next one I read, and it was a little hard to read, but I did read Regretting You. This is a mother-daughter dynamic. So some chapters are written by a 17-year-old, and the other chapters are written by her mother's point of view. This one also is kind of, I don't want to say hard-hitting because it wasn't, but at the same time, like, I couldn't imagine this dynamic and going through what they went through. So Clara and Morgan. So Morgan is the mother and Clara is the 16-year-old daughter. I'm sorry, 16-year-old daughter. Mom finds out about things, or actually the whole group finds out about things, and so we get the chapters from the daughter's perspective of how she's trying to cope with it, and then the mother's trying to cope with information that she found out. I'm not gonna say anything to spoil it, but it was a very interesting dynamic. I think I rated this one 4 stars, whereas like this one was 5 stars and Verity was 5 stars. So this one was 4 stars. It was good, but not as good as the first 2 I read. This next one I read was It Ends With Us. This is the first in the duology that is for this one. It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. I did not like this one. I did not like this one at all. I did finish it, and I did rate it 3 stars. A very deep-hitting topic. This one has to do with domestic violence, and I'm not a fan of those. I'm not triggered by any of these topics, but there's just some things I don't like to read about, and this is one of them. So 3 stars for that one. But then I did read It Starts With Us, and I enjoyed this one a lot better. This one, I think I rated it 4 stars. But I will say you have to read It Ends With Us in order to go into this one. I feel like you have better context than this one. This one I did rate 4 stars. The next one I read was November 9. This one is basically about Fallon meets Ben, who is an aspiring novelist, and they meet once a year on November 9th. And then this was kind of interesting because I feel like there's a lot of time because they went through multiple years, but I don't know. I feel like it was planned all along, so to speak, because of the way it was written and the turn of events that happened. But I had no idea that there were connections in the background, and we don't know those either until the very end. But this one was an okay read. I think I rated it 4 stars. The next one that I read was Hopeless. This is the first book in a series. I rated this one 3 stars as well. I did not enjoy this one. And I will say, though, that I felt really bad for the character, the main character. We find out that she not only went through, she was adopted, but we find out later why she was adopted and who she was adopted by. We find out that not only did she have one thing happen to her, but she also had 2 other things happen to her. So it's piling on itself, and I don't know how the main character could be as strong as she is. But I did not like this one. I was quite angry by the time I was done with this one. This is a very hard-hitting book because it not only has, it had rape, it had adoption, it had very, very hard-hitting tones in it. And I didn't like it. And as a parent, like, this made me want to go hug my little girl, because if this happened to her and she lived her life dealing with all of that, nope. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine. 3 stars for this one, and this was my the last big one that I read. The very last one that I had was Finding Perfect. This is like a little novella. I don't even think it's not even 100 pages. This is supposed to be in connection with this one. This is about 6, and what was his name? I don't remember his name. Daniel, I think it was. 6 and Daniel. Apparently, 6 and Daniel had a thing. 6 got pregnant, and he did not know about the child. She gave it up for adoption, in a closed adoption, but she really wanted to know how the child was doing. It was that kind of topic. This one was okay. Reading the first one and knowing somewhat of all of the characters, I don't think you need the rest of the series to read this. Although if you wanted pure context, I would probably read the books in order. But I liked this one. It was kind of cute. It kind of worked out in the end. But this one would be a good supplement to the series if you continue it. I don't know that I will continue the Hopeless series. This was the last one that I needed to read and fulfill the Colleen Hoover author challenge. She is done. She is very much a hit or miss. Like I said, I think my favorites out of this was Ugly Love, It Starts With Us, and that's it. Ugly Love and It Starts With Us were my favorites out of that whole stack. So the next author that we will be focusing on is Tessa Bailey. So look forward to that. But Colleen Hoover is done. I may keep some of the books, but some of them I will probably donate or put on Pango. So check Pango if you are looking for Colleen Hoovers. And that is the end of Author Challenge Part 1. Well, that's all for me in this video, guys. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.